Ezekiel Elliott's massive production at Ohio State made him the #4 overall pick, and he paid it off by being a first-team All-Pro in 2016 as a rookie. He has that rare combination of size, speed, strength, and agility with strong blocking and pass-catching abilities that very few running backs possess. That new workout video right there just shows how explosive he can be. Elliott was held to the lowest yardage totals of his career, racking up just 979 rushing yards in 15 games. He also hit career lows in yards per carry, yards per reception, and total touchdowns last season. So we're going to play a little game called Make or Break, and let's welcome in our Jason Canfora. So we're going to start with the Cowboys and Ezekiel Elliott. He struggled in 2020. The career lows in rushing yards per game, yards per carry, and total touchdowns. Looking good in that latest workout video, though, that he posted. Do you think Zeke bounces back this fall, JLC? Is it going to be a make or break season for him?
Well, I think it's a make or break season for him in terms of being an upper echelon, highly compensated running back, and frankly, being the Cowboys starter. You can't continue to pay everybody, and you look at their asset allocation on the offensive side of the ball now with a $40 million quarterback, and something eventually has to give even with the cap going up. I think when running backs start going in a certain direction physically and from a production standpoint, that tends to be telling, especially when they have as much tread on the tires as he does. They tend to lose it and lose it quickly when it goes and not get it back. And I don't love the state of the offensive line, and I think the Cowboys are transitioning from a team that was Dak complimenting Zeke to a team that's going to be throwing the football all over the field to all those receivers. The back that they like most might not even be Zeke. It might be somebody who's a little more nimble and twitchy out in the open field, more of an airback. So I think a transition is ahead for the Cowboys.
Ooh, bold statement there, and obviously the pressure is always on in Dallas, so interested to see how it comes about this year. So next up, we're going to talk about the Browns. They just snapped that 18-year playoff drought and won a postseason road game, and they did that mostly without Odell Beckham Jr. He's been on that injury train for the past few years. His latest post, though, showing off some insane speed. I love these guys coming out here on social media like, look what I can do. I mean, he's still got some skills. He's got some speed there. Expectations in Cleveland, they are quite high for 2021. How do you think OBJ bounces back this year?
Well, I think certainly we'll see more from him than we did last year when he pretty much, lost the season to injury and wasn't super effective before he got hurt. I think there's a recalibration involved here for him as well. This is not the same team, not the same franchise it was when John Dorsey, the former general manager there, traded for Odell Beckham. They don't need Odell Beckham to be a workhorse. They're not going to run their offense through Odell Beckham. And frankly, to this point in time, when Baker Mayfield, you look at his targets, you look at his passer rating, throwing to different individuals, it's been pretty risk-reward going to OBJ, versus Landry, versus Higgins, versus some of the tight ends they have there, where things have tended to not be as feast or famine and not involve as many turnovers. So there's things they need to hash out and things they need to work on. And I think Odell Beckham at this point in time is more of a complementary piece than he is that #1 wide receiver who, boy, we better feed him 15 times today or we can't win the game. That's not how the Browns are set up. Can he make explosive plays on the outside? Can he be a guy who still stretches the field at times? Yes. I just don't think that this offense, in fact, I know this offense is not going to be inclined to take nearly as many deep shots and to focus on that kind of stuff as what they were doing when Freddie Kitchens was running the show.
It's a different ball game out there now. Speaking of Baker Mayfield, I wanted to zoom in on him for just a second. He has been consistent over the 3 years as Cleveland's starting quarterback. Last season, he went 11-5 with over 3,500 yards and 26 touchdowns. Do you expect another solid season out of him? Do you think it could be a make or break year? Obviously, he's out there looking for that long-term contract.
Sure. Yeah, look, I think they found the sweet spot last year in between the rookie year where people looked like it might take the league by storm and some of the things they had him doing that that worked when he took over. And then year 2, which was a disaster, I feel like year 3 was sort of in between. It was a little more solid, a little more consistent. And they've got 2 starting caliber running backs, and they're going to run as much, 12 and 13 multiple tight end personnel as anybody in the league. I think they found the Baker Mayfield that works for them, which isn't that big risk taker. It's not a 3-point shooter. It's a point guard. It's about distribution. Let these guys get yards after the catch. It's about putting him in situations where he boots out. He's got 3 kind of easy reads, or throw it away or run it out of bounds. Don't hold it, throw across your body, and force something if it's not there. I think the kind of numbers you saw last year, I mean, if he's healthy, they're going to go up. They're playing, 1 additional game. But I think that's about where he is. Could the touchdowns be a little higher this year? Possibly. From a yardage standpoint, though, I think when you're talking about a team that is going to want to run the ball over 2,500 yards on the ground, I don't think they're throwing for 5,000 also on top of that.
Well, with regards to a contract, what kind of money do you think we're talking about with Baker? When obviously it depends on what happens this season, but what are you thinking?
This is a tricky one. If I'm representing Baker Mayfield, and there hasn't been much traction to this, I'm basically in a holding pattern right now. The Lamar Jackson situation is unique and different. He doesn't have formal representation. It's him and his mom. It's very difficult to get a deal done, a mega deal of this type, when you've never done this before and you don't have a lot of professional backing. The team doesn't want to insult you, but they may want to take advantage of you a little bit. It's just a weird dynamic. And, Josh Allen's another one. I don't think you can put Baker Mayfield in the category of those guys, but you may want to see what their top-end threshold is before you settle in. You may want to gamble on yourself for another year as well. Say, let me stack 2 straight seasons that shows them what I can do. The market's going to continue to go up. The cap's going to continue to go up. And maybe I'm better suited to doing something there when my body of work is a little more consistent. Regardless, he's not in that $40 million stratosphere that these other guys are trying to settle into.
It's all a business. That's right. All right, JLC, thanks for joining us here on CBS Sports HQ. Now, if you're looking for your daily fix of NFL news and analysis, you got to look no further than the Pick 6 podcast. Our guys, they're getting you up to speed each day in about 30 minutes with what's trending in the NFL world, so you are always in the know.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.